Thank you all for coming. And my name is Marijan, and I am the CEO of Legit, and our product is Data Privacy Manager. We deal with privacy compliance and privacy protection. And I've been working with data for like 20 years now, and I've learned that companies and governments are getting insanely good at collecting personal data about all of us and knowing everything you do, what you think, where you go, who you hang out with. But in the same time, they are so bad at protecting our privacy. And I've also learned that even the companies that are ethical and want to do privacy the right way, they don't know how to do it. It's very difficult. So this is why we created Data Privacy Manager, and I'm gonna talk about Data Privacy Manager, but why privacy? So privacy is a fundamental human right. And maybe the basic definition, we can start from there, is that privacy is the right to be left alone. It's your right to go places, to be with yourself, with your thoughts, and to do things you don't want everyone else to know about. Maybe if you talk to your doctor or psychiatrist or a close friend or a partner, you don't want everybody to know about it. But when I talk to people about privacy, when I talk to even family, friends, but people in general, sometimes they say, why do I care about privacy, right? So I have nothing to hide, I'm not a bad person. And what is the problem with that kind of thinking is that in the world there is only good and bad people. Either you have something to hide or you don't. So that is not true. Really, privacy is something that is integrated in human beings, and we need privacy. It's very important. Now, how do we protect privacy as a society, as a civilization? The only thing we can actually do is create regulation and enforce regulation to businesses, because businesses must run for profit, and if privacy is expensive, and it is today because it's difficult, then they need to have also regulation and big fines. And this is a topic that is very relevant even today in Croatia, because 2 days ago, supervisory authority in Croatia, AZOP, has imposed the biggest GDPR fine so far. It was 2.3 million euro for a debt collector agency. And if you look at all these big brands, they have like 3 things in common. First thing is that they all have problems with privacy, and they got fined with amounts ranging from big to gigantic. The second thing is that if you talk to their engineers or if you listen to the whistleblowers, they will all say, we don't have a clue where we keep all your personal data. And the third thing for sure is that they didn't use Data Privacy Manager. So what is DPM? This is our product, and it's an end-to-end software automation platform which is designed to solve all privacy compliance challenges for enterprises, designed to protect individuals' privacy and also to minimize privacy compliance risks for companies. It is built on our proprietary artificial intelligence, and it is designed to actually solve any kind of challenge that a company has, to help the companies do privacy the right way. And I think normally when you think about privacy, it is designed to protect personal data. As every company today collects, stores, and processes personal data, you can imagine that we sit nicely across all verticals and all industries. So when we speak about nightmare scenarios, it's good that the formatting is bad for the nightmare scenarios, because it shouldn't be good. So when we speak about nightmare scenarios when it comes to artificial intelligence, you may wonder how privacy is related to that. And there is a reason I chose this specific books. Like everybody knows about 1984, George Orwell's novel about surveillance state, and I think sometimes people get the message wrong. The message is, if you know that there might be someone watching you and surveilling you at any point in time, at any location, you will change your behavior. It will be like a prison for the mind. Then the Circle, it's a nice dystopian story about a company called The Circle, which has genius ideas and technology which are really intrusive to people's privacy, like wearing cameras where everyone can see whatever you see all the time. And it doesn't have a happy ending. I mean, it ends with the idea, with the new technology, which can actually read people's thoughts. And now, the Minority Report, I guess you know about it. It's leaning nicely to this one, and it's about a government creating a solution where they can not only read your minds, but they can actually predict what you're going to do next. And if it's a bad thing, then you go to prison even though you didn't do anything. And the last one is not a book, it's a flag. It's a flag of North Korea. And it's a country. And it's a good example of how life would look like if you don't have any privacy, where people are actually afraid of saying what they think or doing what they want to do because of potential retribution from the government. So these are not nice scenarios, and I think the worst scenario of all is like full surveillance all the time. This is, by the way, an image generated by DALL-E, which is one fine example of generative AI. I hope there was a lot of talk about AI and the future of AI during this couple of days. I just arrived like 2 hours ago. And I think the worst thing about surveillance that also people don't understand is that it's not that everyone is watching you all the time. I mean, there were social experiments where they actually tried to create a way of how to control people, how to make people submissive and compliant without using brute force. So they used the prison in the US and they built a big tower, and on the top of the tower was a glass room with dark glass on the outside, so the prisoners would never know if someone is watching them. And they should assume at all time that someone who is in control of the prison will know exactly what they do. Are they behaving? Are they being good or bad? And like I said, this is a prison for the mind. This is really a nightmare scenario for us, having an all-seeing and all-knowing technology that can surveil and know what we do all the time. So I'm just briefly going to go into what we do. This is an example what we did with AstraZeneca. So we had a project called Legal and Ethical Store and Mastering Consents for Clinical Trial Studies. This is for AstraZeneca on global level, for all of their clinical trial studies. And this is a project sponsored by their AI and data team. And what they do in big pharma with AI is, for example, using clinical trial study data, so clinical data and genetic data and non-genetic data and so on, to try to find new purposes for existing drugs, so repurposing drugs or creating new drugs, or even helping the personalized medicine or medical care and making clinical trials better, and also doing stuff like, normally supply chain optimization, whatever companies do today with artificial intelligence. What we did with Data Privacy Manager, and it was all driven by giving data and AI team faster access to data, because if you think about artificial intelligence and what is going to happen in the near future, it all depends upon the data which is used to train artificial intelligence. If the data is good, the results will be good. If the data is bad, so garbage in, garbage out. But also what you need to think about is that we, for example, need to protect privacy. And we need to use data responsibly. And we need to be compliant with privacy regulation. But privacy is just one aspect of it. There are many more ethical aspects to how we train artificial intelligence and what is it potentially that is going to happen. So in AstraZeneca, what they are trying to do is have information at all time. When they access the data to use it for machine learning, for training machine learning models, they want to know that they are allowed to use that specific data. And there are different rules for patients in China, there are different rules for patients in Croatia, Russia, US, and so on. So what we did, we have implemented a centralized solution with Data Privacy Manager, which automates this whole process of collecting consents from individuals, having ethical reviews, making sure that it was communicated with the individuals what the company is going to do with the data, are they allowed to process data for a specific purpose, and so on. So what they are doing now, they can sleep peacefully and know that they are processing data in an ethical and compliant way. And this is what all companies should do. AstraZeneca has a lot of money and they have these ethical standards that they need to be positive on. So I would like to finish with saying I try to finish on the happy note. And I also use DALL-E to generate like an impressionist image of a painting with the title, "A Happy World Where Privacy is Protected." This is one of the pictures it created. But what I want to say, if you want to take away anything from what I said, is as companies, as businesses, think about privacy, invest in privacy compliance, because it's becoming more and more relevant and more important if we want to build a sustainable future where we will use new technologies and artificial intelligence to our advancement. But there is also a cautionary note here. This is the first image that it created when I typed in "a happy world where privacy is protected." So yeah, we need to be careful about what we do with artificial intelligence and really do it in ethical and compliant way, and it all starts with data. So I think if we shift left to where we collect data and how we collect data and how we use data, this is the place where we can make the most impact at this point and make sure that what we are creating, new technologies, new businesses, new use of technology, will be to our advantage. All right. So yeah, thank you very much for being here, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your stay here.